Hey Gear Seekers, I'm Nick. We've covered heaps of different Aorus panels on the channel, but Gigabyte's also been releasing an array of Gigabyte branded panels that are a little bit cheaper, but also sport most of the same features that their Aorus counterparts do. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that button right now. We upload basically every single day, so get yourself subscribed to see some more tech related videos, because that's what we do around here. In this video, we're going to take a look at Gigabyte's second generation 34-inch ultrawide panel, the M34WQ. It's a flat 34-inch ultrawide panel with a 144Hz refresh rate and a resolution of 3440 by 1440 that features adaptive sync. So let's see how this new monitor goes. I've been using this monitor for a couple days to play games on and for general use as well, and I think I've given it a pretty good run to see if this thing is any good. The Gigabyte M34WQ features a 34-inch 21:9 edge-lit IPS panel with a resolution of 3440 by 1440 with a peak brightness of around about 400 nits. It also features a 144Hz refresh rate. It's a flat panel with no curve and it has a response time of 1 millisecond MPRT. It features adaptive sync technology, and although it's not NVIDIA G-Sync certified, I've not been able to see any issues with it running G-Sync. Now, I did test this for an extended period of time and it did work well. The M34WQ is an 8-bit panel. It doesn't have FRC, so it doesn't have that fake 10-bit. And it also supports 117% of the sRGB color space and 91% of the DCI-P3 color space. It's not bad coverage for a panel at this price point, but I'll come back to that a little bit later. The Gigabyte M34WQ also has standard 100mm VESA mounting, so you shouldn't have any issues with mounting this to an existing monitor arm solution if you already have one on your desk. The M34WQ has a 178-degree wide viewing angle with a 1000:1 contrast ratio. It's got two HDMI 2.0 ports as well as a DisplayPort 1.4 port with display stream compression, and also a USB Type-C port that can be used for display input as well. There's two USB ports with a USB uplink port that can be used for the KVM feature as well. Now, we dived into how the KVM feature on these new Gigabyte panels works in another video, and I'll put that in the description so you can check that out later. There's also a headphone output as well as two 3-watt speakers. The out-of-the-box calibration is pretty good for an ultra-wide panel. The panel itself was pretty bright, and for extended periods of time, like I always do, I reduced the brightness to just 20% because I found that it was more than adequate. Now, the default brightness of this panel is around about 70%, and although this isn't the brightest panel in the world, it did cause me some eye strain at the default brightness. The main reason why I drop brightnesses on panels when I test them is because I use them in this room here, and if you use them in a dark environment, you will strain your eyes without tuning that brightness a little bit, so I would recommend doing that. The M34WQ is a monitor that can be used for content creation, although it's not got the widest color gamut and it's not as wide as some other more capable monitors. For the price, it still makes this a very compelling choice. The build quality is pretty good too, and you shouldn't have any issues with it at all. It doesn't have many of those gamery aspects that you see on more gaming monitors, which is a nice change. It kind of flies under the radar in that respect. I think it would fit in with most use cases and most spaces, and it actually fits in quite nice with the room that we've got here. If I do have to pick one thing out about the design, and it's the same thing I say with all of these Gigabyte monitors, I'm just not a huge fan of those huge logos on the front. I mean, you might care about it, you might not care about it. I don't really care that much, but I thought it was worth mentioning because when I'm shooting B-roll and stuff, it does stand out quite a bit. I guess that's kind of the point of the branding, right? The stand is fully height, tilt, and swivel adjustable. You don't need rotation adjustment on an ultrawide panel, it's just too wide. Unlike the older Gigabyte G34WQC, the M34WQ has swivel adjustment, and that was my biggest complaint about the older ultrawide that Gigabyte made. The M34WQ also has a little nub-style joystick on the back of the screen for the menu system, and it's really easy to use and everything is very easy to understand. There's also a KVM button on the back too that you can use to switch between the inputs, which I talked about a little bit earlier. This also features Gigabyte's OSD Sidekick software and allows you to control everything in software, so you don't need to actually use that nub-style joystick on the back. Now, a lot of these features are things that I personally don't find very useful, but they might be very useful to you. So it is nice that it's included. In regards to adaptive sync, it will work with both AMD's FreeSync and NVIDIA G-Sync as well, which is the way that we use it the whole time, that meaning G-Sync. Unlike the older G34WQC, I didn't encounter any flickering with G-Sync turned on with this panel. This panel is HDR 400 certified, but at only 400 nits of peak brightness, it doesn't feel bright enough for a decent HDR experience, but if I'm being absolutely honest, for HDR, it wasn't terrible, but at the same time, it wasn't amazing either. It's kind of in that weird space where it says it's HDR, but it's not really, right? For gaming, I really like the Gigabyte M34WQ. I really like ultrawides for gaming in general, and I feel right at home when using this panel, except for one issue. The monitor's not curved. I can forgive a regular 16:9 panel, but for it not to be curved and it being an ultrawide, that's a bit of an odd choice. And I know people are gonna say that it's only flat because it's an IPS display, but that's not exclusively true. The monitor that I use to edit all the videos on the channel is a curved ultrawide IPS display. It's an LG one. Now, I figure that Gigabyte chose to do this because if it's not curved, it actually hits a certain price point. Like I mentioned, that LG panel that I got is more than triple the cost of this one. Now, I know I'm nitpicking here, but it does seem a little bit weird, but again, I get it. It's for the price. Realistically, it doesn't actually impact the usability of this panel. It just feels odd because I'm so used to using curved ultrawides. If we take a look at the feature set between the new Gigabyte M34WQ and the older G34WQC, on paper, they're actually quite different. This newer panel has a flat IPS panel as compared to the older one having a curved VA panel, and even though I don't like the fact that the newer panel isn't curved, the main reasons why I'd pick this panel over the older version is because this one has a KVM feature that allows you to connect multiple computers to the panel with a single mouse and keyboard. That to me right there is very useful, and I can see that a lot of people that work from home love this feature too. That being said, the older G34WQC didn't even have a USB uplink port at all, didn't even have USB. And just to talk about using this and it not being curved, at the right viewing distance when it's not curved, I actually don't think it matters too much, and something that I noticed after using this for quite a while. Overall, I think Gigabyte did a pretty good job with the M34WQ. This comes as no surprise as most of Gigabyte's branded panels have been pretty great feature-wise, and the M34WQ can be added to that list. And also, I just need to add this as well. Another good feature of this panel is the name. Most monitor manufacturers get so caught up in these stupid internal names and SKUs that to the regular consumer, the names just don't make sense and they're not very memorable. I think Gigabyte's done a much better job at this, and it seems like they've got this naming convention down. Everything else you get with this panel comes in at pretty good value for both gaming, light content creation, and for content consumption. I think the price point here is pretty spot on. You get a decently bright panel, an excellent feature set like that built-in KVM, which for many who are working from home, it's just a game changer. It's so good to be able to use your desktop PC and a laptop and vice versa and whatnot without plugging stuff in. That said, if you're interested in grabbing the Gigabyte M34WQ, they're going for around $499 US, or around 749 Australian dollars at the time of filming this video. I think you're getting a lot of monitor for that price, and I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but for a 144Hz ultrawide panel, I think this is a pretty decent price when compared to other offerings on the market. The only thing here is, at the time of filming this video, there's almost no other current flat 34-inch ultrawides to compare this to, right now at least, but it kind of sits in its own product category for the time being. If you've got any questions about anything else that I mentioned in this video, feel free to drop a comment down below. Let us know what you think about ultrawides. Me personally, I love them. They're my favorite. I think ultrawides are kind of the best balance of size and aspect ratio for productivity and for gaming. I mean, again, it's not everyone's cup of tea, and make sure you check out what Tim from Hardware Unbox and what Artings had to say about this panel as well. It's mostly good stuff. We found the same thing, and I'll link both of those videos in the description down below if you need to validate anything I said. Also, I just want to add that we keep our monitor content nice and easy to digest for people who might not understand everything about monitors and what everything means, and I like to talk about the things that regular users will find useful. We like to leave decisions in your hands when it comes to any product that we review, and we like to keep it simple. Not everyone's an expert, and that's what I'm here for, to make it easy for you guys. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Hit that little subscribe button, ring the bell if you like the music and everything you heard here. I make all the music. It's available by clicking that join button down below. Once again, thank you so very much for watching. I'm your boy Nick with Gear Seekers. You peek, we seek, and it feels good to be in this space again, with everything being super adjustable and everything. If you haven't checked out what we did to set this old but new space up, I'll put a link in the description for, a link to this awesome height adjustable desk that we use for everything in here now. It's pretty great. Thanks for watching.